Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast on YouTube right now. Still looking for a good area that we're going to stick with the audio side, but that's going to be for down the road and probably sometime after SummerSlam or something in that sense. Also, for programming notes, this is going to be for Smackdown. But right after this, I'm also going to be shooting NXT. And I'm probably going to be shooting my predictions for SummerSlam as well. So it's going to be a back-to-back-to-back day in the terms of the wrestling reviews. Also on programming notes, if you haven't seen it yet up on the channel for people who are watching, I have simulation matches for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 and for SummerSlam itself. Featuring the Fire Pro Wrestling World variation of everything on the channel right now, so if you want to check those out. Most of those videos are not too terribly long, so with Fire Pro Wrestling World, it's one of those things you can either play the game yourself, or you can let the AI kind of do everything in that sense. In the terms of simulations, I like for the AI to kind of play everything off, mainly because it doesn't kind of show any kind of bias or anything in that sense, especially if I've gotten good at the game or if I'm bad at the game or something to go along with that. So it's kind of like the AI going at each other at that point in time. So if you want to watch some simulation matches for if you want to watch the simulation matches for both NXT TakeOver and for SummerSlam, they're up on the channel already. And let's get right into SmackDown now. Matter of fact, you know what? Most of the time I like to start right at the beginning of the show. But with the way that this show ended, I've kind of got to start with that. I've got to start with that finish. I've literally got to start with that finish and everything with that one. And we'll just jump right to the main event, which was John Cena versus Jinder Mahal. The match itself, I thought was actually pretty good. I thought they did a pretty good job on there. Cena seemed to try to be putting as much over as he could. You also got, even though it happens a lot more nowadays, you got to see Jinder Mahal kick out of the AA, so he's deemed as more viable, and he kicked out of a finisher, everything in that sense. So he comes off looking a lot better in this one, and especially in the end with the fact that he garners the championship as well. Well, the end of the match saw Baron Corbin come in. He slides the briefcase into the ring, hitting Cena, followed quickly by him. He starts attacking Cena, causing the DQ. Cena gets the victory via DQ in this one. And this is after Jinder Mahal ate a super AA off the ropes. And basically he takes out John Cena and kind of teases that he's not going to cash in. But then he kind of gets like halfway up the rampway, and then it's almost like a light bulb clicked in his head. It's like, wait a minute, I could cash in now, and it should be easy to get the WWE title. Well, he cashes in. The referee, and now I've seen a lot on this one as well, and I know a lot of other places have talked about this, but I've seen a lot on this one as well. Like, why did the referee allow for Jinder Mahal to get up, everything in that sense? I've seen this happen both ways. Most of the time with a cash-in, the referee, it's considered under like referee's discretion. I think they even have JBL mention that. It's like under referee's discretion whether or not they allow the champion to get up or something in that sense. I've seen it both ways. We've seen it with Daniel Bryan where they don't have to let the champion get up. The bell automatically rings. Daniel Bryan goes for the pin. Goes for like a DDT on the chairs, got the pin and left. But in most cases, you've seen the champion be let back up before the bell would ring, and then either the finishing move would happen or the match would go a little bit longer. So I don't really have a big problem with the factor that they let Jinder Mahal get up after the cash-in happened before the bell rang. And so, like I said, I had no issue with that there. And I'm not even sure I really have an issue with it. And I guess I'm going to reserve more of my judgment for SummerSlam with everything and see how they book Baron Corbin then. Because after Jinder Mahal gets up, the bell rings, he catches Cena on the apron, turns around, punches him, and Jinder Mahal, like he was playing possum the entire time, sprints over, gives him the schoolboy roll up, gets the 1, 2, 3, and was out of there. That's one of those moments that's like, the crowd was popping like the Money in the Bank cash-in happens, everything in that sense, and all of a sudden, it's like, boom, done. And usually you see it the other way. It's like, boom, done, new champion. But this time it's boom, done, Jinder Mahal's still champ. It's just one of it's that little nuance there. And I'm not going to lie on this either. We've had a lot of successful cash-ins. There aren't a lot of failed cash-ins for the Money in the Bank. The first one that failed to cash in cashed in and failed to win was Cena. He gave a week in advance against CM Punk, and I believe this was 2012. And they had their match on the next Raw, and it ended in DQ. So there's your first failed cash in. The first one to fail with getting pinned or submitted or something in that sense was Damien Sandow, I believe, the very next year. And this is when they still had 2 Money in the Bank briefcases as well, I believe, to go along with everything, where he had created a situation, got into a match with Cena, and ended up losing that match. So we have our third failed cash-in. Like, they play the role reversal of what Feast or Fired in Impact Wrestling in GFW, where they have failed cash-ins all the time, all over the place in there. As a matter of fact, I think they've only had like 1 or 2 successful cash-ins for their world title briefcase at any given time. So it's one of those things. It's like, we've seen so many successful ones. It's so weird that you have a failed one, and a failed one in such a spectacular manner in the terms of like how quick the match was. You would have expected a failed cash-in maybe with a longer match or something in that sense. Not a quick roll-up like that to go along with. So I feel like with the way that they're doing everything here, and the fact that you have Cena and Baron Corbin at SummerSlam, I'm kind of going to reserve my judgment until I actually see that match. And what do they do? Is this to build more heat going into that? And if they have Baron Corbin go over, then okay. In the end, it's not so bad to go along with it, because he gets a pinfall over Cena on Sunday to go along with it, and then maybe that makes them say, it's like, hey, I still deserve a title shot because I beat Cena at the pay-per-view, to go along with it. So you have something for him to grasp onto. If he loses or just gets destroyed, then I guess they've soured on Baron Corbin at that point. It's really hard to say where they're going. The logic leads you to believe, and I'm gonna go off and say this. The logic leads you to believe that they have soured on Baron Corbin, and that he's not going to get pushed that hard anymore. In any way, shape, or form. And it's also been rumored that it wasn't even a full unanimous decision to put the Money in the Bank briefcase on Baron Corbin to begin with. It was maybe 1 or 2 people, and they ended up getting the nod over everybody else who wanted to put it over here, or put it like on Nakamura or Sami Zayn or maybe AJ Styles or somebody else with that particular match. So we're gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see where they go with it. But my logic says Corbin's probably not in a good place Sunday in the terms of where his standings are within the company. But we'll wait and see how that match goes. So yeah, that is definitely the main talking point of SmackDown, is this failed cash-in and in any way, shape, or form. Just the quick nature of it, how everything came off in the match, the roll up to quickly end the match, everything in that sense. It'll be interesting to see how they come off with everything. So for everything else that happened on SmackDown this week, outside of that, it's kind of like it was kind of an interesting show, or just it felt like the show was kind of there again. In that sense, they started off the show with Jinder Mahal coming out. He was going to have a celebration of Indian Independence Day. You know, he had all the dancers, everything in that sense. There's somebody there to sing the Indian national anthem. Of course, this gets booed out of the building. Kind of sad to get it booed out of the building because, you know, he's kind of just showing national pride with this one. And I guess it's one of those bits that if you're showing it in America, you got to boo it or something in that sense. I don't know, especially with world events that have been going on over the last so many days before this one as well. Don't really know about that in that sense of it. He basically talked about the celebration and how he's going to beat Cena that night and Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam. This does prompt Shinsuke Nakamura to come out. He cuts a promo, short, sweet promo from Shinsuke Nakamura. No interaction between the two, at least in the physical interaction side. It was basically Shinsuke saying, and I kind of like the way that he did it. It was like, today may be Indian Independence Day, but today in Japan they celebrate the people that they've lost in war and pray for peace. Nice little line, good babyface line to go along with it. I liked how that came off to go along, and then he makes mention to how he's going to take the title on Sunday to go along with it. So yeah, not a bad segment in the end. I guess it was one of those bits that you almost felt a little bit uncomfortable, especially for the person who had to sing the Indian national anthem. It's like, did you really have to boo that person? Because she looks like she was an extremely nice lady who was in the ring there to sing. And it was one of those bits like, it would have been interesting to see if the crowd would have just kind of like, okay, we'll play along with this. Or it's like, go along with this. It's, you know, something that you are prideful of and everything. So yes, go ahead and have this celebration on your time. It would have just been interesting if they would have taken that note instead of being typical WWE crowd and booing it. But they were a typical WWE crowd in that sense. So up next, you have Becky Lynch going up against Natalya. This one had the right result to it, with Becky Lynch tapping out to Natalya's sharpshooter. The match itself was decent enough. You had Naomi on commentary, really, again, not saying much of anything. Like, she's not very good when it comes to the commentary side of cutting her promos. She comes off a lot better in, like, backstage or just over the microphone promos in general. In that sense, afterwards, Natalya goes to put Becky Lynch in the sharpshooter again. Naomi chases her off. Carmella comes out and taunts both of them with the contract, cutting a quick promo saying, hey, whomever wins actually loses at the pay-per-view, to go along with it. So teasing the fact that they're going to cash in the women's Money in the Bank contract at SummerSlam or something in that sense. You had a backstage segment with Lana and Tamina. Tamina's kind of angry that she doesn't have a match, and she was like getting into Lana, like saying Lana was like, I thought you were going to use your influence. It's like, and like where Tamina said she was not, or where Lana was not ready to have matches, Lana now says, you're not ready because no one fears you. And that she was going to use her, she was basically saying, I'm going to become your manager, use my influence, and I'm going to make people fear you. And everything in every way to go along with that. So I guess that's going to be building over time. Up next, you had Daniel Bryan backstage, and he meets up with the Usos. Basically, and this is an interesting one. Daniel Bryan and the Usos interactions, and it's like even the Usos with Daniel Bryan, they don't even act heelish with them. They're like just having fun with like Daniel Bryan's antics around the Usos and trying to like say it's like he wants to be part of a rap group or something to go along with it, and the Usos are just trying to hold back how hard they want to laugh at that point in time. So the promo was and the promo was also basically finding out who the New Day they were going to face at SummerSlam. And Daniel Bryan said it was going to be Big E and Xavier Woods, and they said they wanted a match with Kofi Kingston and Xavier tonight to prove themselves. I guess in that sense, which they had that match a little bit later. These guys, they put on a good match. The Usos going over in this case, I think it's not a bad way of going, and it's not against the actual team variation of the team that they're going to face on Sunday, so it kind of just gives them momentum going into the pay-per-view. But again, much like that, the Battleground match, this was a good match. Well, the Battleground match was a great match. This was just kind of a good match. They gave it enough time to go along with everything. Up next to talk about, you had Rusev and Chad Gable. Basically, they had a quick match. Rusev destroys Chad Gable outside the ring. I think this ended like in no contest or a double count out or something like that. It ended in about a minute. Like, Chad Gable got to do a belly to belly overhead suplex again. You had, and then like Rusev kind of just destroyed him on the outside, putting him in the accolade on the table, throwing him over the table at one point as well. Rusev goes to cut a promo inside the ring. Before he says a word, it was like if you basically, it was one of those moments if you didn't really fully recognize that somebody was coming by the crowd reaction, you would have never seen this RKO come from Randy Orton, because Randy Orton literally comes just jumping onto the screen and RKOing Rusev to kind of finish off that segment. It's one of those bits that they're trying to play with that meme as much as they possibly can, even though the meme ended a long time ago to go along with it. That one, that was basically a quick little interaction with all of them going into their pay-per-view match as well. Up next, and there was a lot of talking on this show. There really was. There wasn't too much in the terms of actual matches to go along with everything. You had AJ Styles come out. He calls out Shane McMahon. Just said, you know what? That was a mistake last week. I hope you're not going to try to screw me over on Sunday. Basically, it was like Shane kind of warning each guy that it's like, if you touch him, I'm going to hit you. And basically, and that was his warning to AJ Styles. This prompts Kevin Owens to come out. He starts buttering up the Shane, everything in that sense, saying it's like, if I touch you, it's by complete accident, and you don't need to go after me or anything in that way. He wants to shake his hand. I like how Shane was like, that's inappropriate to shake your hand right now. So why don't you shake AJ's hand? Which they just start smack talking each other. A quick brawl begins, and it ends with Shane McMahon trying to get in the middle. Owens ducks a punch, but instead of accidentally hitting Shane, Shane catches the punch. They start kind of having this face-to-face, and then Kevin Owens goes for the super kick. AJ Styles ducks and lands it right across Shane McMahon. So they're basically playing it off like they did last week, where like one guy kind of accidentally hits Shane going into this pay-per-view match. It was a fine segment. I've liked the build that they had going into this particular SummerSlam match with AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. I thought and adding Shane McMahon in there is kind of, it's worked for what it's needed to do, and it's been relatively good for what for everything that they've been going through. I've been liking this build up to this match a little bit more than some of their other matches that they've had with Kevin Owens and AJ Styles initially. Like, the matches themselves have been good, just with like screwy finishes, but the build-ups hadn't been all that great. I've liked this build-up a little bit more. So the final point to talk about, since I talked about the main event, was the final episode of Fashion Peaks. Yes, they're only doing one more episode of Fashion Peaks, which was tonight. And you basically had a lot of references in there, and I like this reference going along with it. It's like that Tyler Breeze and Fandango, they go off. It's like, you know what? We're not actually solving any mysteries. It's like, and Tyler Breeze is like, yeah, we should start solving some mysteries before people think we are just, making this up on the fly. And they kind of look around. It's like, are they really making it up on the fly, or is this everything that they're kind of just, or is that kind of the ploy or everything to go along with it? The Ascension come in with the pie from last week and said they were going to return it. I love how they get where Fandango starts searching through everything. and he finds like a Band-Aid or something else, and then like the last little bit is like, is this gluten? And you see Victor of the Ascension just lose his mind, saying it's like, we lead a gluten-free lifestyle, everything in that sense, as they exit the room. Just good stuff. They find one more thing in the pie, says to be on it. Fandango basically says, I sense danger ahead, everything in that sense. It leads you to be semi pun intended there. It leads to you wondering, who is this going to actually be? A lot of people think it could be Sanity, it could be somebody coming up from NXT or something like that, but that to be could be the Bollywood Boys or the Singh Brothers, and that's their clue, is they say, oh, it's the Singh Brothers because of the you know, two Bs, the Bollywood Boys BB or something to go along with that, or the fact that there's two of them, or you can play off of that as well. So there's a lot of different ways that they go. They also say, I do like at the end how they say, Breezango returns in 25 years. And then it fades away and it's like, nah, 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks type thing. So this SmackDown, it was a lot of talk. It really was a lot of talk, and that ending with Baron Corbin, I don't know, like, it's a couple days later. Like, I'm filming this on a Thursday right now. It's a couple days later, and I still don't know how I want to feel about the Baron Corbin cashing in. I want to say it's a horrible way that they did it, but, like, if they book it to where, like, this just leads to Baron Corbin becoming more vicious and, like, destroying Cena at SummerSlam or something to go along with it, then, you know, it has a purpose. Or did they actually sour on Baron Corbin really quickly, and it's like, just get the thing off of him, type of moment. And that's what they ended up doing here. So we'll see how everything ends up playing off on that one. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for SmackDown Live this week. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.